Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are now in Maritime Harbor. All passengers, please take your seats and remain seated until the ferry is safely alongside.
All of us are here today.
Province again. Okay, I'm still in Africa, my continent. Are there any people from Africa here? From which country in Africa? Kenya, Jammu, Sana. Any country again in Africa? Congo, you like I don't have something to say about it. Let's fly to Europe. Are there any people from England here?
Yeah.
Since now we've been removed from the red tape, you decided to come and visit us in South Africa. People from Holland?
Yeah.
Die Gaskoppe. Goeiemorgen. Hoe gaat het? Alles recht, baie danke. I hope that you didn't come here to colonize us again. People from America?
Yes.
From which state in America? California, how's Arnold Schwarzenegger doing? How's Arnold? He's not one of the Terminator, he's the Terminator. Back to the movies, he always promised us that we'll be back. People from Germany.
Ja,
Guten Morgen.
guten Morgen.
Wie geht's?
Gut,
Sehr gut. Herzlich willkommen auf der Insel.
danke.
Bitte schön. People from Ireland. We've got a dual citizenship.
Sometimes I really that also heals me inside. It's a therapy for me to come here and tell the people our experience. So on that note, I have no option but to lock you inside this. And as for camp prisoners, our letters were heavily censored. If you received a letter from your family or a friend, the authorities will read your letter and heavily censor your letter using a scissor and cut your letter. So with a scissor, yeah, and cut your letter. So there will be some holes on your letter. And sometimes they will use a cocky pen. The cocky pen, yeah, and erase all the important things on your letter. And we're allowed to receive one letter a year and one visitor a year. And my first visitor was after 5 years, because each and every time my parents wrote an application to come and visit me, the application was turned down. So before we can go to Mandela cell, we will people go to that cell in front of us. Inside that cell, there are some stories of the Namibian prisoners that we will read them. Because Namibia was colonized by the German Republic, but after some time, it was colonized by the South African government. There was a Holocaust and genocide there in Namibia. And also, if you want to read the stories of the South African prisoners, so you may proceed with this corridor, the last 2 cells. But I will only give you a few minutes to read those stories.
I don't know if you've noticed that I am wearing a sunflower. I love sunny vibes, and clearly the background tells it too. So there's one book I got to read in the year 2022. By now you'll be surprised about 2022. I think it was clearly a year of a sign for me. When I was a small girl, I always had conversations with God, and I would tell him, I want to discover my path, my purpose in life by the time I'm getting to 30 years. And you clearly get what you ask for from the universe. So that's why last year I was 29 years and now I am 30. I did get to turn 30 in January. And here we are living a manifested life of sharing so much light with the world. And as I talk about that, Oprah comes to mind again. One of the most beautiful books I got to read, What I Know for Sure by Oprah Winfrey. And what Oprah as a highlight shares is, I know for sure your journey begins with a choice to get up, step out, and live fully. The power of writing. I have learned to journal all through. Literally anything you write down comes to pass. It's so easy when you write down your goals. You can keep track of them, your to-do list. It's a journey of 1,000 years. And in case you're feeling insecure about writing, Paul Coelho, back to the author of The Alchemist, he has a very, very nice journal of discovery. I would love to refer you to where you can get it. It talks about following your dreams and live your destiny. But for the last 3 years, I have not seen it in any bookshop in the country. But if you're watching this and you have referrals, please share, and I'm happy to share with everyone. Great. So what does Paul say about the act of writing? Everybody has a good story to tell, and it is part of the human condition to want to share a little of our experience with others. There are some stories we must first share with ourselves before they become part of the world, before they can begin to lead us on our journey. Think of all that you have not yet learned about yourself, admitted to yourself, or even understood about your hopes, your fears, your dreams. Even when no one is there to read your words, write for the pleasure of writing. Write to discover, to let go. As the pen traces out words on paper, your anguish disappears and your happiness remains. For this to happen, it is necessary to have the courage to look deep inside yourself and to write with honesty. And what if it's something very intimate, you know? Don't worry. Thousands of years ago, Solomon wrote the following words: "Whatever has been is that which will be, and whatsoever has been done is that which will be done, and there is nothing new under the sun." You know what verse that is in the Bible? Ecclesiastes 1:9. Please allow me to read that again. And what if it's something very intimate? Don't worry. Thousands of years ago, Solomon wrote the following words: "Whatever has been is that which will be, and whatsoever has been done is that which will be done, and there is nothing new under the sun." That's Ecclesiastes 1 verse 9. In other words, if thousands of years ago there was nothing new, just imagine now we're in the 21st century. Our feelings of happiness and anguish are still the same, and we should not hide them. And even though there is nothing new under the sun, there still remains the need to translate all this for ourselves. Paul Coelho, A Journey of Self-Discovery, The Act of Writing. Atomic Habits. Tiny changes, remarkable results. James Clear really put his work all together on this one, which is so amazing. And this will involve a lot of learning for all of us from a very knowledge perspective, which translates to wisdom in the long run. And so starting from a very general definition of what is atomic. Atomic is an extremely small amount of a thing, the source of immense energy or power. What is a habit? A habit is a routine or practice performed regularly, an automatic response to a specific situation. This takes us back to the journey of starting. You have to start before it even becomes a habit. So we all struggle with starting, and Atomic Habits gets right into that journey of supporting us in getting to do the best that we can do on this. So I'll share a small brief on that, how to go about the understanding and the surprising power of atomic habits, which is the aggregation of marginal gains or searching for a tiny margin of improvement in everything you do. I like the part about this book which shares atomic habits in a perspective that really hits home. We think sometimes if we change something in our life, it doesn't yield results. Because I'll give a simple example of going to the gym. Sometimes we expect I go to the gym today, tomorrow I should see some improvement. Like when I look in the mirror, I see I actually did work out. But that doesn't happen. And that is where atomic habits come in. I love numbers a lot, so I like that James breaks it down into a numbers perspective, and I'll share that with you. Improving by 1% isn't particularly notable. Sometimes it isn't even noticeable, but it can be far more meaningful, especially in the long run. The difference a tiny improvement can make over time is outstanding. Here is how the math works out. If you can get 1% better each day for 1 year, you'll end up 37 times better by the time you're done. Conversely, if you get 1% worse each day for 1 year, you'll decline nearly down to 0. What starts as a small win or a minor setback accumulates into something much more. As you can see, the demonstration of how that looks, 1% better every day. So, as I mentioned, I love numbers a lot, so I really like this part that breaks it down into that. So, if I have 1 and I get the 1%, so 1% is 0.01, correct? So, if I have 1 and I minus the 0.01, I remain with 0.99. So 0.99 to the power of 365, because it's 365 days, that gets me to 0.03. So that's a decline. But imagine if you get better by the same 1% every day. So I have the 1, you add 1 plus the 1.1 plus the 0.01, you get 1.01 to the power of 365. You end up 37.78 times better. How amazing is that? And that's how you get to see the people who go to the gym every day, they get outstanding results by 1 year. But sometimes we have to really push ourselves to get there, and that's how James breaks this down into a journey that we can get to execute every day. So getting to understand, how can I reward myself after going to the gym? How does the right environment influence me? And that's why there's some people who will set a strategy where I'm working out from home, but somehow it doesn't get attained to the maximum potential, because there's what you get also from being part of a community when you get to work out with people. So right here we get to see how does that look like. You know, the best way to show presentation of science is through graphs or through pictorial representation. And so with this, you get to see what's the impact of a habit over time. How does it showcase the results? And so we get to see how the accelerating curve based on improvement of habits, and how as well there is a declining curve based on basically doing nothing. If you do nothing for 1 year, you will be there to deteriorate with time, all the way to the 0.03 we got to see earlier. And based on this, we'll get to cover a system of atomic habits. If you're having trouble changing your habits, the problem isn't you. The problem is your system. Bad habits repeat themselves again and again, not because you don't want to change, but because you have the wrong system for change. This is my favorite line from this book. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Please allow me to read that again. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Please allow me to read that again. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. We are all very, very ambitious human beings. We have a gazillion of stellar goals that mean everything. Like every day we sleep, we have dreams to literally change the world around. But as we've read from this, it's about the systems. We are all very ambitious people. You get what you repeat. Time magnifies the margin between success and failure. Good habits make time your ally. Bad habits make time your enemy. Habits are a double-edged sword. Bad habits can cut you down just as easily as good habits can build you up, which is why understanding the details is crucial. You need to know how habits work and how to design them to your liking so you can avoid the dangerous half of the blade. The more tasks you can handle without thinking, the more your brain is free to focus on other areas. So this is the power of positive compounding. Atomic Habits is based on 4 laws, and I'll just be there to share a brief of them for this session. Then as time goes by, we'll get to dig deeper into them. So 1 is the cue, the second one is craving, 3 response, and 4 reward. That is how habits work. So I'll give you a simple example of the whole loop, how it works. So 1 is the cue. The cue is your phone buzzes with a new text message. What do you get to do? You crave. You want to know, wait, why is my phone buzzing? And so you want to learn the contents of the message. So that's the craving bit. What happens after the craving? You get to respond. How do you respond? You grab your phone and read the text. And what does that take us to? The reward. You satisfy your craving to read the message, and that's how you complete a whole cycle. And that's how we go about our everyday choices. And that's where discipline comes in as we go about our daily habits, our atomic habits. Because if I am working out, what will happen is probably I'm doing intermittent fasting. I'm trying to avoid some starch. But what happens naturally, what happens is you will see someone eating a nice snack. It might be pizza, and you're like, wow, that's a cue already. And you get a craving. What do? You respond to it by choosing to take the bite of pizza. Or at that point, that's where the discipline comes in, and you realize, if I do this, what are the implications on it? Is that it affects my diet. If I'm on a diet and I'm on a path to lose weight or keep fit. And at that point, that's when you start working around the brain system and managing how you go about that. And we'll cover that a lot from the nervous system as we get to go through What Happened to You by Dr. Bruce Perry and Oprah. They break down the nervous system so we get good understanding of how we respond to that and how we can get to be better versions in relating and responding to how we are influenced by different contributing factors in our life. Now you know our third book that we'll get to go through. It's already begun. That's the beauty about starting. So now we are second steps into 1,000 miles journey. We'll get to dissect this sometime in the future For now, our main priority is what happened to you. So the very next conversation we'll have will start the work on our brain system. Get ready for that one.